Most of us think kindness means stopping someone from falling, stopping someone from failing, stopping someone from feeling pain. But what if real kindness doesn't say stay? What if it says go on? Because sometimes the kindest thing you can do for another human being is not to rescue them, not to soften the path, not to remove the struggle, but to refuse to stand in their way. Growth doesn't happen when life is comfortable. Confidence doesn't form when someone else keeps carrying. The weight strength isn't built when we constantly step in and say, I've got this for you. Real kindness understands timing. It knows when support helps and when it quietly suffocates potential. When we say go on, we are not abandoning people. We are trusting them. We are communicating something far more powerful than sympathy. We are saying, I believe you are capable of more than you think. And that belief changes everything. Kindness that overprotects often feels loving, but to many men it quietly sends a dangerous message that they are not trusted with their own struggle. Men are wired to measure self-worth through progress, responsibility, and earned competence. And when someone constantly steps in to shield them from failure, it interrupts the very process. That builds confidence. Men don't grow strongest when life is made easier. They grow strongest when they're allowed to face resistance and discover that they can handle it. From a man's perspective, being protected for too long feels less like care and more like confinement, because growth requires friction, and identity is shaped by what we overcome on our own. From a woman's perspective, protection often comes from love, empathy, and the desire to prevent pain. But pain is not always the signal to intervene. When kindness removes every obstacle, it can unintentionally communicate doubt, and doubt is heavier than any challenge a man might face alone. Real kindness understands that belief is sometimes shown by restraint, by stepping back and allowing the process to unfold, by trusting that struggle can produce strength, clarity, and self-respect that no amount of protection can ever replace. Comfort feels good in the moment, but for many men, it quietly erodes the sense of purpose that comes from earning progress. Men often interpret care through challenge, through being pushed to rise. And when comfort becomes the default response, it can soften the edge that drives growth and self-respect. Men don't find meaning in ease. They find it in movement towards something difficult. When life becomes too comfortable, ambition fades into routine, and routine slowly replaces intention, leaving men restless without understanding why something feels missing. From a woman's perspective, offering comfort is instinctive expression of care, a way to say you matter and you are not alone. Yet comfort given without awareness of timing can unintentionally delay growth, because it replaces the push forward with permission to stay where things feel safe. Care is not the removal of discomfort. Care is the willingness to support someone through it without taking it away. When kindness says go on instead of sit down, it communicates belief, respect, and trust in the strength that emerges only when comfort is no longer the goal. Belief changes a man before any solution ever does, because being believed in awakens a responsibility that rescue never can. When men are constantly rescued, they may feel helped, but they rarely feel trusted. And trust is what activates self-respect and inner drive. Men grow when someone looks at them and says, without words, I know you can handle this. That quiet confidence becomes fuel, pushing them to rise to the expectation placed on them. Because men often become the standard, they believe others see in them. From a woman's perspective, rescue often comes from compassion and the urge to reduce suffering. But belief requires a different kind of courage. It means allowing discomfort to exist while holding steady, even when stepping in would feel easier and more immediately comforting. Belief does not abandon, it empowers by staying present without taking control. When kindness chooses belief over rescue, it tells a man that his struggle has meaning, that his effort matters, and that growth is possible because someone trusts his ability to move forward. Struggle is often misunderstood as failure, but for men it is usually the signal that growth is underway. Men are conditioned to find meaning through effort, and when struggle is removed too quickly, it leaves behind a quiet emptiness that no comfort can fill. Men do not break from pressure. They break from feeling unnecessary. When progress stops and challenges disappear, motivation fades, And stagnation settles in disguised as stability, slowly eroding confidence and purpose. From the inside, from a woman's perspective, struggle can look like suffering that should be avoided, especially when love is involved. Yet not all hardship is harmful, and not all peace is productive, because some forms of kindness delay the very strength they hope to protect. Growth demands movement, and movement demands resistance. When kindness says go on instead of step back, it honors the truth that struggle refines identity, sharpens values, and creates momentum that stagnation can never offer. Trust is revealed not in how tightly we hold on, but in our willingness to let someone take the next step alone. For many men, being trusted is not a soft emotion. It is a signal that they are seen as capable, responsible, and worthy of carrying weight. Men interpret trust as permission to become more. When someone steps back instead of stepping in, it creates space for accountability, decision-making, and the kind of confidence that only forms when consequences are real and ownership is unavoidable from a woman. This perspective, holding on, often comes from care, instinct, and the fear that letting go might feel like abandonment. Yet trust is not absence. It is presence without control, a quiet stand that says, I am here, but I believe you can handle what comes next. Letting someone move forward requires emotional discipline, because intervention feels productive while restraint feels risky. But growth rarely happens under supervision. It happens when individuals are allowed to test themselves against reality and learn who they are becoming. When kindness chooses trust over protection, it transforms the relationship itself. It shifts from dependency to respect, from management to belief, allowing strength, clarity, and self-direction to emerge naturally through forward motion. Love is often measured by how much we do for someone, but strength is built by what we allow them to do for themselves. For many men, being constantly helped can slowly weaken the belief that they're capable, even when that help comes from a place of genuine care. Men grow into their identity through challenge, responsibility, and the quiet satisfaction of overcoming something on their own. When love steps in too quickly, it can interrupt that process, replacing earned confidence with dependence that feels safe but deeply unsatisfying. From a woman's perspective, stepping back can feel unnatural because love is expressed through support, presence, and protection. Yet real love also understands timing, recognizing that intervention at the wrong moment can delay the growth it hopes to preserve. Strength requires space, and space can feel like distance even when it is not. Allowing a man to struggle does not mean withdrawing care. It means trusting the process that shapes resilience, clarity, and self-respect. When kindness says go on instead of stay here, it communicates belief without words. It tells a man that his effort matters, that his path is his to walk, and that love is not something that carries him forward, but something that believes he can carry himself.